Welcome to Coffee and Cleavage.
Welcome, everybody. Coffee.
Mm-hmm. So this week we wanted to talk about dating and relationship myths.
I honestly can't count how many times I have heard how hard it is to meet the right person. Now, I'm not saying it's not hard to meet people, but most of the time what follows this is like discouragement and destructive myths that people believe or they tell themselves about never finding the right person.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I hear that all the time too.
Countless.
Yeah.
I think it's really just what we hear in society, like these myths that we just believe that are true just because somebody told us that they're true, as well as just stuff that's happened to us in the past.
Yeah.
It all just kind of like compacts and makes us think really negatively. But we're here to bust those myths.
Yes, we are. Myth number one, well, not really one, just myth. It's better to have a bad relationship than no relationship. That is such a myth. It really is. You know, of course, there's like a lot of health benefits that come to being in a healthy relationship.
Keyword being healthy.
Healthy, yes. But many people can be just as happy and fulfilled without being in a relationship too.
Which is so hard for some people to understand.
Yeah. Some people don't know how to be alone. And in the past, I was like that.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know how to be alone, but that was because like being in a relationship from like a really early on. And
you didn't know another way to be.
Yeah, exactly.
You thought that was like the only way that you could kind of live. And that sounds like really drastic, but I feel like a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah. And then you end up going from relationship to right into the next relationship and not giving yourself that time. And that's important, is that time to yourself.
Time to yourself to like literally be a person and live for yourself and do what things interest you. Like that's mind boggling to me. Yeah. And I think that it's also, if we're being truthful, it has to do with like societal views too.
Yes.
Like you're in social circles and what do you know? Everyone's dating or maybe married and you're kind of like the odd one out, or like, oh, why aren't you with anyone? And it's like, that's kind of a weird take, right? Why aren't you with someone? Like, it's almost like, what's wrong with you that you don't have a partner? And it's like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with anybody that's single. You know?
Yeah.
If you're choosing to be single or you're not, I mean, it's just, we shouldn't be pressuring each other to be in relationships, especially at the cost of being in a unhappy or unhealthy relationship.
Exactly. You know, you shouldn't just stay in something just to be in a relationship.
Just to fit in.
Yeah. I mean, that's fucked up to yourself.
Yeah. Being alone and being lonely are just not the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people put those together. Like, oh, if you're alone, you must be lonely. That's not necessarily true. I know a lot of people that are single that are quite happy, you know?
Or they're too busy.
Or maybe they're just casually dating and that's what works for them right now. Like everybody has a different situation. So big false.
Big false.
Big false. Myth: couples fight most about sex, money, and in-laws.
Yeah, no, that's a big myth. I mean, that's true. People do fight about those things.
But the word mostly fight about sex and money. I think that's like the key word.
Yeah.
Is that people think that's like those are the number one concerns.
I mean, the most thing couples fight about is nothing.
Nothing. That is shocking. People are like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean nothing?
It's over nothing.
It literally means that they're just picking a fight to fight. They're butting heads, you know?
Or there's some disconnect and you're not seeing eye to eye or not on the same page. I mean,
you're not emotionally connected. You know, you're frustrated. You have stuff going on in the relationship or maybe stuff in the past. Whatever it is, you're just bonking heads and you're not communicating effectively. And that just makes you act out at each other and fight over nothing.
Yeah.
Which just is kind of crazy, right?
It is, but it's so true if you think about it, you know?
I mean, like even like kids argue over actual things, right? Like fighting over toys and stuff. No, adults just fight over nothing.
Over nothing.
Yeah, we're just fighting to fight, you know?
Uh-huh. Another big myth, I'll be able to change or influence the things I don't like about someone.
Now, this is like as much of a bad belief as it is a myth. I think a lot of people truly believe this, that they see the best in someone, and because of what they think they see, that they can make that person change or be who it is that they think they should be.
Yeah.
Oof, dangerous.
It is. Don't ever go into something thinking you can change someone, because it's got to be all up to the person. You know, you can't fix someone.
No, honestly, you really can't. And it's kind of like, it's like a reverse psychology thing. If you want somebody to do something, they're probably not going to do it. You know, so it's either that you don't want them for how they are or you accept them for how they are.
Yeah.
All within reason and specific situation, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody's like, you know, has some major problems, maybe that means you walk away, you know?
Exactly.
Or if it's something you can live with, like they fucking leave their toothbrush on the counter every single fucking night. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm saying, but people, you know, people have different standards.
Yeah.
Different needs and wants.
Yep.
So let's see. Myth. If you're truly happy with your partner, you shouldn't need to be close to anyone else.
Oh, that's a big fucking false.
This is dangerous.
Yeah, that is a dangerous one.
Unhealthy dangerous. And I feel like the only way that this is true, that you believe this, is one, your partner or you have a codependent personality, which then there's more problems, right?
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
codependent, you need another person to make you happy or make you believe that you're happy. Or two, you literally have no representation of healthy relationships in your life.
And that's really sad if you think about it, because, you know, I mean, if you become codependent on that person, I mean, if something happened, then you're going to be fucking lost, you know?
And aside from that, it's just not healthy to put everything into one person.
Yeah.
One person cannot fulfill you. Like, we're human. We need interactions. We have friends, we have family, you know, we have coworkers, whatever the case is. You have different levels of different relationships with people, and we're human. We need that.
Yeah.
So telling you, if we're dating and I'm telling you, you can't talk to anyone else, you can't have a close relationship with anyone else, that's a huge red flag.
Oh yeah. That's a big control thing for sure.
Myth for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Another myth, you should learn to love your partner's worst qualities.
This one makes me laugh. I've heard this one before. Like, you have to love everything about the person.
There's a big difference of loving their worst qualities versus like loving them at their worst. Like, no, it's not the same.
Yeah, loving someone at their worst is like your understanding of whatever they're going through. We're talking about people's worst qualities, like, again, like with the toothbrush example or whatever you think somebody's worst qualities are. I'm just saying, I'm using that as a very light example, you know, but just because you love someone doesn't mean you have to love every single thing that they do or every habit that they have. It might mean that you tolerate it because you love them.
Yeah. Yeah. Tolerate. Absolutely.
You don't have to be in love with it.
No, you don't. No. There's things they're not going to like about you too. And it's like, well, this is how I am. So
yeah. I mean, and we're talking about like near superficial things, obviously. If we're talking about worse qualities, like they treat the waiter like shit, that's like a different story.
Yeah. Or maybe they have really bad time management, or, you know.
Oof, that would be a tough one for me to handle though.
Yeah.
Bad time management.
It's just that's like an example. I don't know, like, I don't know, what are some qualities that you, or pet peeves, I guess you should say.
Yeah,
that kind of relate to that.
Worst qualities for pet peeves for me. Like, there's I don't know, I don't want to lay myself out here. I know we've talked about pet peeves in the past, but there's just little things that just drive me nuts. You know, people chewing with their mouth open.
Oh, yeah,
or,
that's a big one.
like there's a lot of dining things that bother me in terms of eating and sounds. I know I've talked about like the shower sounds. Well, like these kind of sounds are fine, but like when people are like
smacking their food and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or scraping the plates or, you know, leaving things in the shower, not rinsing the shower out. There's just the floor in the bathroom, you know, there's just like little tiny things. I wouldn't necessarily say that those are like worse qualities, but maybe if you're like getting into like the pet peeves or things that your partner does that you don't love, you know, those are probably way less important than, like you said, something like time management or not treating people correctly or that kind of, those to me are way bigger.
Oh, absolutely.
There's just no situation in where I could be with someone and like support and love my partner if they treat other people badly.
Oh yeah, no, that's a huge turn off.
Yeah, that's like a no brainer for me. Nope.
A deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
I know we should go back and do deal breakers 2.0.
Yeah, we should, because there's a lot. I was also thinking icebreakers, like good things you can say too, not just bad things.
Yeah.
Myth. If the relationship was meant to be, it will just work out. I mean, I hear this in all aspects, not just relationships.
Yeah.
Have you ever been told that?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, if it's meant to be, then it'll happen.
Yeah.
Which, you know.
That sounds really wishful.
Yeah.
And that's almost like saying you have no control. Yeah. As you can guess, I don't like that.
Yeah.
No, seriously. It's like, oh, if it's meant to be, it'll just happen. I've been told that about like modeling stuff before. Like, oh, just let it go. If it's meant to be, it'll just happen. It's like, that's not the way the world works.
Exactly. It doesn't just come to you.
If you want something to happen,
you got to work for it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that same rule applies to relationships.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they take work on both sides. You know?
And imagine that you're just like driving a car and you just like let go of the wheel.
Oh, if it's meant to be, I'll make it to my destination.
Yeah, I'll make it to my destination without turning the wheel. I mean, it's the same idea, right?
Yeah.
You just let go. And like, I hope your steering is great.
Yeah.
Hope you don't need an alignment.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Jesus take the wheel over here, right?
No, false, big false, guys. If you wreck, you're to blame. Yes. That applies to your car and your relationship. Right?
Absolutely. Myth, you'll know at first sight. I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm kind of like, no, I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing.
I mean, I'm very intuitive. I'm an intuitive person, but you don't always know. You can be blinded. You know?
Blinded by the lights. So I think that it's a myth in both ways. You'll know at first sight and you can't know at first sight.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you say you fell in love with somebody at first sight, people are going to tell you like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're just thinking that in your head. It's all going to fall apart and they'll doom you. Right. But then if you say you will know at first sight, then somebody's going to be like, yeah, right. That doesn't happen. That's just lust. That's not love. You know? So I feel like it's kind of a myth in both ways.
Yeah.
So like you said, intuition.
Yep.
If your intuition says like, whoa, there's a connection, there's probably a connection.
Yeah, definitely. But then you should still, you know, kind of see until you really get to know the person.
Exactly.
Because you may think you know them and then you're fooled, you know.
And that goes for the other way too. Say you go out with someone and you don't feel that first.
Yeah. That can grow
at
on
first
you.
sight. There's way more. You don't know that person. You can peel back the layers, get to know them, and you could absolutely fall head over heels for that person over time. So like you said, you have to have an open mind, but you should follow your intuition at the same time. If you go on a date and it's like so terrible and you're like, I can't stand this person, of course, do not continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's that intuition. If your intuition says, oh my God, I think I'm in love. Well, you should probably keep dating the person, but maybe don't tell them that yet.
It reminds me of that show. Did you ever watch Marriage at First Sight?
No.
Really?
Was that on TV?
It's a good show. It's still on, I believe. But it's these marriages that they get married right in the very beginning without even seeing each other. until the wedding day. And then they have, I think it's like a month to see if they're still.
So is this kind of like 90-day fiance, but like skipping the pre-wedding?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Go into marriage right in the very beginning. And then you have like a certain amount of time to decide if you want to stay married or get divorced.
What the fuck?
And
this is cruel.
Yeah, you got to watch it. It's good. I haven't watched it in a long time.
I haven't had cable in like, I don't even know how long.
Yeah. Well, I remember this one couple, he was in love with her, but she did not like him. Wasn't attracted to him. But then at the end, she wanted to stay married because she fell in love with him.
Without seeing him?
Yeah.
Or with seeing him?
Well, so they get married without seeing each other. Well, they see each other. They don't see each other until they get married.
Okay.
But then when it came to the end where they want to stay married or get divorced, they both stayed together. But away in the beginning, he was like at love at first sight. You know what I mean? But her was like, no. But then it grew on her. He grew on her.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
There are some interesting analysis and studies and stuff on like male versus female attraction, about how women often can like have love grow, but if a man sees a woman and he's not into her, then it's like less successful at the growing. I don't know how like true that is, but I don't know. It kind of makes sense because we're very like emotional beings. So if you're having your emotional needs met by someone, and you have that like bond and you're able to make that connection, then all the other stuff like matters less.
Yeah,
men absolutely. Are very like visual.
Mm-hmm.
They blame us. You guys blame us. But we're definitely more emotional creatures. Okay, myth. The right person will make you feel complete. This kind of ties into one of the earlier myths, I feel like.
It does.
So false.
It is. It's very false. I mean,
it sounds very like, I don't know, fairy tale-ish. Like
it does. You may feel that way in the very beginning when everything's new and exciting and, but when it comes down to it, someone does not complete you.
Yeah, you should already be complete and they are like the bonus. Like, boom, I just won the lotto. Like my life was already great, but I won the lotto.
Yeah. That's usually when relationships have the most success too, when you're not, and when you already are a complete person without them. And they come into your life and then everything's just better. But
yeah, because when you don't have that and then you believe that somebody completes you and then you lose that, I feel like that's where you lose yourself because you put all of who you were in another person. Like your life fulfillment belonged to someone else,
Yeah.
So no bueno.
No bueno. That's a big false.
Well, hopefully those myths were interesting. Cue the dinging.
Is that yours dinging?
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.